the origins of the novel as a literary genre date back to the 18th century. Since 1750, writers have been writing novels, especially in England. Why this new literary genre? Because middle-class people loved this new kind of hero, the so-called self-made man. And in fact, all the main characters, the protagonists of these novels, start from a bad position, a low social standing, and then after they undergo some adventures, even dangerous ones, they reach a higher, rich social standing, according to the Protestant ethics, which implies that only predestinated people who are due to be saved will become rich someday or another, no matter what they do. During the 18th century, novel writers experimented many styles. We start from the first form of novel, the so-called objective novel, realistic, matter-of-fact novel. The father of the novel as a literary genre is in fact Daniel Defoe, who worked as a journalist till he was 60 years old. Then, so late in his life, he started this new career. He was the first professional novel writer of all history. He wrote some realistic novels such as Robinson Crusoe and Moll Flanders. In his novels, it is very easy to find lists of things, places, detailed descriptions of people, places, which give the reader the impression of realism. We need to be convinced that what we are reading is the truth, that they are real facts. Then other novel writers started writing in different styles. Take, for example, Samuel Richardson, the author of Pamela or The Virtue Rewarded. He invented a new literary style, a new genre, the epistolary novel. Actually, Samuel Richardson's job was writing letters for the people who lived in a small country village, who were mostly illiterate, so they didn't know how to write letters. And they all went to him to ask him to write for them some letters. So he had this idea of writing a novel as a collection of letters. The letters between a girl, Pamela Andrews, and her father. She tells him, she writes to him describing what happens in the old lady's house where she works, and then the father answers. We need to know that this epistolary novel is also a psychological novel, because for the first time the reader learns the feelings, the impression of the character. We never find the psychological analysis in Daniel Defoe. Think back of Moll Flanders, the first time that she becomes a thief. There's no psychological analysis of what she feels after becoming a thief. Take Robinson Crusoe. You never find any comment about Robinson's state of mind, about Robinson's mood. We only know what happens in the story, because the style is objective, realistic. Defoe was a journalist, so there's no room, there's no place for feelings, for emotions. He only sticks to the facts, only facts. Richardson, for the first time, analyzes what his characters feel, what they feel. Then take Henry Fielding and Jonathan Swift. They both use a new style, the satiric style. Jonathan Swift is the author of Gulliver's Travels. He was an Irish writer, and he used irony, satire, to discuss political and philosophical issues of his time, especially the debate between empiricists and rationalists, the English empiricists and the French rationalists. Take Henry Fielding. He created the anti-heroic novel. He wrote Tom Jones, that is the story of a foundling, a boy without a family. But most of all, he wrote Shamela, which was a satiric version of Richardson's Pamela. What Fielding tries to do is to denounce the hypocrisy of his society. Very likely, Pamela was not a virtuous girl. She only used a strategy to get Mr. B to marry her, because she wanted to become a rich lady. So she only resisted his seduction because she wanted him to marry her. And in fact, the subtitle of Pamela is The Virtue Rewarded. So there's a reward for Pamela's virtue. What reward? The fact that Pamela, in the end, becomes a rich lady. So her virtue was not sincere. Okay? Finally, we have Lawrence Sterne. Lawrence Sterne is the author of The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy. His novel is very peculiar because for the first time he makes strange experiments. Walter Scott is the father of the historical novel. That is, he creates a real historical frame, and in this frame he inserts fictional facts, fictional characters. But we are going to discuss these two authors later.